We've been given a taste of Starfield's universe, and soon players will be able to explore it in their own personal spaceships. This not only opens the door to a potential massive range of possibilities, but it also leaves us wondering about the nature of the game's flight model, as well as many other things besides. Now, early glimpses suggest that the flight model leans more towards the Arcadia side of the spectrum. Whilst I'm certainly not expecting full-on arcade combat here, I'm not expecting full-on sim mode either, so perhaps something in between. Either way, we're going to need a hands-on experience to be certain. As for ship-to-ship combat, I have touched upon this in a previous video. I'll link that in the video description. So today, in this video, I'm going to be focusing on other aspects of spaceflight. So not really so much ships, but rather the type of things that we can do and find within star systems as we move around them. So it seems that Bethesda has mirrored the vastness of space in its gameplay, and it seems this gameplay is going to parallel the ground-based gameplay, and by that I mean the type of free roaming and discovery that you can do in other Bethesda titles. We've seen this down on the surface in the video footage of Starfield, where players roam across the planetary surfaces and come across settlements and interact with a variety of things. It seems that this type of gameplay is going to be applied to spaceships as well, where players will be able to freely roam around the areas, discovering and exploring multiple locations, and this could include space stations as well as battleships as well, and maybe everything in between. It'll also have the ability to dock with these structures and walk around their interiors. It's this type of gameplay then I've been longing for in a space game. It's not really something that any other space game currently has. No Man's Sky, I guess, has it to an extent, where you can dock with the big freighters and go and explore them, but it's kind of limited. It feels limited. It's not got that deep sense of a living, breathable world that you get from an open world RPG. Star Citizen also has it with some handcrafted locations, but that is rather limited when it comes to the number of them. Elite Dangerous, meanwhile, doesn't have the ability to dock with random structures in space and explore their interiors, so yeah, it seems Bethesda are going for something that I know a lot of people have desired for a very long time. Just how well they pull this off, however, remains to be seen. Another point that I want to touch on here, at least just briefly, is that for now at least it's entirely unclear whether players can freely roam around the entirety of a star system. So that means, will you be able to freely fly from one planet to another, or is there local regions of space that are locked off and you'll sort of have to transition from one planet to another? Now, the impression I've got is that the star systems will be freely explorable in their entirety, but I don't think that's been confirmed. I do hope that is the case, as this would be the ideal option. That said, we do know there's going to be a transition between star systems. This would be interstellar travel, as here spaceships employ a grav drive for faster than light travel. However, it does require sufficient fuel to even initiate the jump. If you don't have enough fuel, you won't be able to jump. Additionally, grav drives come with different jump ranges, so for those harder to reach star systems that are slightly further out of the way, you're going to need an improved, upgraded version of that grav drive. It also seems that multiple jump routes can be plotted, as demonstrated on the screen right here. We can see them making 2 star system jumps with a single plot. Keep in mind that Starfield's going to have around about 100 different star systems, so that should keep things quite interesting. For me though, I've always made it very clear that I feel when it comes to exploration that it's the quality of the environments that count for more than the quantity. Now, another thing I'm really pleased to see is Bethesda going for gameplay over realism when it comes to spaceflight. This is something that often leads to insane travel times in those online space games, the live service ones, and it's something that I'm glad to see will be avoided when it comes to Starfield. Now, it's all well and good having the ability to fly between star systems and through star systems, but what happens if they're empty? Well, fortunately, it seems that Starfield is going to be full of a whole variety of things, the aforementioned different structures, but also NPCs as well. Now, we know from a recent IGN video where they got 1 hour gameplay time with Starfield that when you're down on planets, specifically the larger city of New Atlantis, the player will be able to interact with every single NPC. Players of Bethesda titles won't be surprised by this, as generally speaking you can interact with every single NPC as well. But what's interesting is that this level of interaction also seems to apply to space encounters, with players able to communicate with other spaceships that they meet. And this interaction is facilitated by a chat dialogue menu that allows trading, pirating, questing, or the simple exchange of information. So not only are NPCs themselves going to be all pervasive and pretty much everywhere, but so too will the spaceships, and players will have a lot of different variations on how they can interact with them. They might just want to destroy them, or they might want to trade with them, or have more friendly encounters. The options seem to be quite open here. It also seems there's a load of other type of encounters going on. In one case there was a party cruise where it seemed a player could join the ship for a party. And if that's a thing, who knows what else is going to be possible. Okay, so here's something else, and this one isn't so much about spaceflight, but rather, well, about the result of being in space, I guess. And this is Zero G. It's something that was shown in Bethesda's showcase and was also mentioned in IGN's hands-on playthrough. Now, in the showcase, we saw some footage of a floating sandwich as well as a floating weapon. IGN, meanwhile, mentioned that whilst on board the ship, their gravity generator failed and everything started floating around. So rather interesting to see how this will play out, as well as what type of effect it will actually have on gameplay. It seems likely, very likely, that players, unless they've got mag boots forced on them, will also be able to float around as well, just possibly. Maybe. It also leads to another intriguing question, which is the subject of EVA activities, that is, getting out of your spaceship whilst up in space. Now personally, I suspect this is unlikely as it's not been demonstrated, and I'm sure Bethesda would have taken the opportunity to show this off if it was a possibility. But who knows, maybe it's something that will happen. So there we have it. When it comes to space-based activity, particularly with the spaceflight and all the activities that go with it, it seems that there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Yet that said, one thing which makes Starfield very intriguing is the possibilities and potential it has. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about all of this. What is the thing you're looking forward to most about spaceflight and, well, travelling around inside star systems as well as between star systems? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.